2020. Entire world is celebrating World Space Science, and they are promoting and outreaching the science activities, space science activities in the entire world. So similarly, our National Council of Science Museum, Kurukshetra Panorama and Science Center from Kurukshetra, and project coordinator K.S. Nehru sir is also joining with us in this session. So I request K.S. Nehru sir to speak some words and welcome our audience.
Thank you very much for your nice address. I would like to welcome all the viewers on this Google Meet. And we are going to start this program, this year's program of International Space Week. And we are celebrating this International Space Week from today onwards. I mean, from October 4th to October 10th. And by organizing various programs in collaboration with Wings of Aero, Kurukshetra Panorama and Science Center is bringing several programs on space science. And in this view, today we are going to have a lecture on virtual tour of International Space Station. So before proceeding that, I would request my colleague, Mr. Sujit Kumar, to give a brief introduction about the speaker. Sujit, over to you.
Thank you, sir. Good evening, everybody. First of all, I warm welcome our speaker, Pon Maa Kishan, sir. He is professor in aerospace engineering in Chandigarh University. Sir, you are both bachelor in engineering as well as masters in engineering in aeronautical engineering, and presently you are pursuing your PhD in the same field, aerospace engineering. Sir, you have a vast experience and you are presently founder and president Society of Aero and mentor of change Niti Aayog by Government of India. It is a matter of great pleasure that Kurukshetra Panorama and Science Center is joined with TEMS ERA Wings of Aero for this World Space Week, which is a 7 days workshop, a skill workshop related to the aerospace engineering. We will discuss different things about the scope, nature, strategies, academics, professional skills for the aerospace engineering. So, sir, we are again welcome you for the present session, which is related to the virtual tour to the International Space Station. And now I hand over it to you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. And thank you, K.S. Nehru, sir, for collaborating with us for this session. So we will start the session with today's agenda. That is virtual tour to International Space Station. So the basic idea is to bring out what International Space Station is, how the modules are fabricated, and how the structure of International Space Station has been developed in the last 24 years. So that is the basic agenda. But primary agenda, if we speak about primary agenda, is as we have told, this is an outcome-based event. The entire 7 days which we are celebrating for World Space Week, we are having some outcome-based event. So the targeted outcome is to understand all the components of modules of International Space Station, as well as the biological changes, some biological changes of astronauts during their stay in the International Space Station. Apart from that, we are also making a primary statement how the entire team of the countries, those who work together for entire one project called International Space Station, and how we have to learn from that work which they have did. That is primary agenda. Okay. Since I have seen many students of the young generation from our country, when they are starting one project and they will work for that project like maximum 1 year or 1.5 years, and they will leave the project and they will start a new project. But from the idea of this International Space Station, I want to give an outcome how a team of 5 different nations have worked together for 24 years and they have developed one project called International Space Station. Okay, so let's begin, not wasting much time. Let's begin. So today's the overview was history of ISS, International Space Station, and structure of ISS and modules of ISS, and virtual tour of inside ISS. Okay, so as well as some biological changes we will be studying, like how the hearing sensors as well as muscles and other problems, which cornea problems, what astronauts are facing. That also we will be discussing in this entire lecture. Okay. So history of ISS. So the plan of bringing up International Space Station, initially it was not started as an International Space Station. It was started only as a Space Station Freedom. So it was a general American proposal which was done in 1980s itself. So like during the Star Trek movies and Star Wars movies, which they have released in 1970s around. So they have started to bring up this idea into the real life situation, how it will be going to be having a space station for America itself. Okay, so that's why they have named it as Space Station Freedom, and it was started in 1980s. But when they are planning to frame this type of space station, Russia is also having the same idea, and they are also providing the same concept of Mir-2. That space station they have named is Russia named is Mir-2, whereas America named it as Space Station Freedom. So what they thought is they will collaborate and they will develop a space station. That's what the idea started in 1980s. Okay, so generally when we are speaking about International Space Station, most of our students as well as most of our people, general people, they will think that that is the only station which was developed in the entire world, but that is not true. It is the 9th space station which was developed. Okay, International Space Station. This is the 9th space station which was developed. Before that, Soviet and Russian have also developed Almaz and Mir stations. Mir station was earlier developed by Russian as well as US Skylab, and China is also having separate space station, as well as ISRO is also aiming for future space station. Okay, so International Space Station is 9th space station which is inhabited by the crews. Okay, so the first ISS component was launched in 1998. So although they have started the plan of having the space station in 1980s, so the first successful launch related to the foundation of space station was launched on 1998, and the first residents, that means astronauts, those who were joined in the International Space Station, and they have reached International Space Station on 2nd November 2000. Okay, so first component was launched 1990, and after 2 years, nearly 2 years, the astronauts reached International Space Station for the time being. So the station has since continuously occupied. So from the date of 2 November 2000, so nearly it was around 19 years, right? It is around 19 years, and if 2020 is completed, then it is around nearly, when 2nd November is coming, then 20 years of completion of International Space Station is done. Okay, next month, nearly. So this is the longest continuous human process in the low Earth orbit, because the altitude, if you see the ISS, which is rotating around the Earth, so if you see the altitude, it will be around 400 kilometers approximately. Okay, so 400 kilometer altitude is low Earth orbit, whereas some satellites are revolving around the Earth in near about 1,000 or 2,000 kilometer, and more than that also our satellites are revolving around the Earth. Okay, since the International Space Station is in the low Earth orbit, so there are some advantages is there as well as disadvantages is also there. Okay, so having surpassed the previous record, since it is continuously nearly occupied for 20 years, so it has break the previous record of a manned space station, that is Mir space station by Russia. But this Mir space station and other space stations were hidden in the history, when the International Space Station is grown, entire world known about International Space Station. So this secondary space stations are not came into the light. Okay, so previously the record was 9 years, and near about 10 years. So the International Space Station broken the record, and it is the longest occupied till date. So as well as this is the largest artificial object which is revolving in the space, right, around the Earth, and the largest satellite in the low Earth orbit, regularly visible to the naked eye from the Earth's surface. So during night time and all, you can easily identify International Space Station. So we will explain at the end of the session how to uh, like locate the International Space Station from your, sorry for that, from your location. Okay, so from your location you can identify the International Space Station. Okay, so that I will explain at the later part. So generally the as I told earlier, the history started with America and US. So they have divided the International Space Station into two segments. One is Russian orbital segment, or it is mentioned as ROS, Russian orbital segment, and the another one is US orbital segment. Okay, US orbital segment. So in Russian orbital segment, so since Russia has already launched a space station, so they have idea of sending another space station also, that is Mir-2. So what they did is they have launched the first module. So as I told in 1998, first component was launched, right? So the first component which was launched for International Space Station is Zarya. Zarya. Okay. So otherwise very well commonly known as functional cargo block. So it is having all the type of materials which is required for initializing a mission. Okay. So the first component is having a solar panels, right? So the first, so here it is Zarya, right? So Zarya is over here. So I will explain how individual parts also, individual part by part. I will explain how the component was done, when was the launch, and how the structure was built time to time. Okay, so like a timeline pattern, I will explain all the structural component also. So Zarya is a functional cargo block, and it is the first component which is launched. So it is a general idea, right? When power, and we need some storage capacity and propulsion system, so that the spacecraft should not fall back to Earth. So we have to maintain the altitude, right? So we have to maintain the altitude of 400 kilometer approximately, and navigation guidance, right? So navigation guidance will be also fitted in the first component, Zarya itself. Okay. So until a short time after Russian service module, Zvezda docked and was transferred control. So Zvezda. Okay, so these are all Russian names, so it will difficult to pronounce, but you can take that. Okay, so when Zarya and Zvezda has interlink each other, right? So that we will be calling it as docking mechanism. So a docking mechanism will be placed in Zarya, right? So the first component is Zarya. So a docking mechanism will be placed in that component, so that other components can be fitted when time to time we are launching the rocket from Earth, and we can fit those components to the space station. So the second module was Swesda, and it provides living environment for the crew. So the crew has to, the pressure and density factors need to be maintained, right? The cabin pressurization, like in aircraft, how they are maintaining the cabin pressurization system, like the sea level pressure will be maintained inside the cabin. So that similarly, the Vestra component or module has been designed so that the crew can live in that environment. Okay. So also it contains ISS main engine system. Okay. So Vestra has the main engine system as well as provides a docking port for Soyuz. So it provides upcoming Soyuz capsules or Soyuz launch vehicles, whatever the spacecraft which Russia want to connect with their module, they can use the docking port. Okay, so docking port for Soyuz and upcoming transfer vehicle also attached to it. So the third module was Russia. Okay, so although the first module was Zarya, that is true. That is for entire space station. The first module was Russia. Yes, ma'am. Okay, let me see. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. I will see. Thank you for that. Right. Okay. Sorry for that. I will explain further. So the first module is Zarya, which is for both Russian or US. The entire space station is started with the Zarya module. So the third module launched by Russia is PIRS. So it is a Airlock module. So Airlock module means it will allow the astronauts to wear the space suit and they can come out of the entire space station. Okay, so here is the PIRS docking module, right? So here it is. So the astronauts can use this module to come out of the space station and they can work in the outer surface of space station, and then whenever they require they can go back to their living area. Okay, so that's what the idea of PIRS. And the fourth module is POISC. So POISC module, if you see, it is over here. So these are all segments. Okay, these are all segments of modules. Different types of segments are attached over here. Okay, right. So each and every segments we will see in the upcoming slide. So POISC is also similar to the Airlock module, like PIRS module. So similarly, it will be helpful for repair internally or externally, where crew use the airlock to exit and re-enter to the station. Okay, so both PIRS and POISC can be used for the same purpose. Okay, so the final component which Russia has sent to International Space Station is RASWET. So RASWET is located over here. So RASWET, it is used for cargo storage and as well as a docking port for visiting spacecraft. So the docking port is one of the important parameter for the entire those who are looking for like the future spacecrafts, if they want to reach to the International Space Station. So the docking ports are very much important in the case of space station. Okay, right. So let's see about US space station. So US orbital segment. So both International Space Station is written into two halves. One is with the US orbital segment and another one is Russian orbital segment. So, but although the name indicates US space segment, but US is not alone using this segment. To build this structure, if even if you want to build it in sea level atmosphere condition, we need supports, right? We need various type of support so that all the modules will be fixed with one support, right? So that's why the you yes ma'am. Okay, sorry for that. It is now or no? It is just now. Now it is visible, ma'am. Okay, ma'am. Okay. Sorry for that. So I hope you have seen that, right? So since the length 73 meter and the width is 100 meters, so if you want to build a component or a structure with this length and width in sea level itself, we need lot of supports, right? So similarly, if you think about space station, the space station is also needs support. So that's why US has developed a integrated truss structure. So most of you are aerospace engineer and mechanical engineer as well as civil engineers are maybe watching this. So you know that very well what is truss. So the truss is a element which is entirely placed in the middle of space station. Along with that, all other components, all other modules are attached over there. Okay, so that the entire space station was aligned with the integrated truss structure. So apart from that, external storage platform. So external storage platform is if you want to store some instruments or tools for outside, if the spacewalk was done, right? The astronauts are doing spacewalk. If they want some components related to some maintenance work or some repair work, then they will get the components from the external storage platform, external storage platform. So then we are having a express logistics carrier. So that is also the required instruments will be placed in various parts of the International Space Station. Because if there was an error at this end, the astronaut no need to walk over the other end. So the component will be placed in a balanced way. Okay. So he will be getting all the tools and all the materials over from this end itself, so that he can do the repair and maintenance work accordingly. Okay. So alpha magnetic spectrometer. So some of you might hear that the latest research which was going in International Space Station to study about antimatter. So to understand the antimatter and other factors, this alpha magnetic spectrometer was used. Okay. So mobile servicing system, yes, that we very well know what is mobile servicing system. Movable device, movable structures, which is required to transfer the material or components from one phase to another phase. Okay, so these are the modules which was in US orbital segment as well as in the Russian orbital segment. So let's get into the overall configuration. So the overall configuration looks like this. The entire representation which I have taken from Wikipedia. So if you see the structure, before going into the each parameters, I will generally explain how the configuration was done. Okay. So first of all, you need to understand. Let me change the color. So I am drawing a straight line over here, right, along over here. Okay. So another line across. Sorry. Another line I am drawing across over here. Right. So two like axis system I have drawn. Okay, like an axis system, I have drawn two lines. Okay, perpendicular to each other. So with this image, you can see over here that this end, right? So this end, which I am circling right now, that is called as forward end. This is the forward end. Okay, this is the forward of International Space Station. So similarly, the aft position is over here. This is aft position or tail. So in aeronautics term, we can say that this is nose and this is tail. Okay. So the tail module is compacted with the Russian modules. All the Russian orbital segment is fixed in the aft position, whereas the US module and other agency modules were fixed in the forward position. Okay, forward as well as the lateral position also fixed. So most of the aeronautical students very well known about starboard side and port side. So here also they are using the term of starboard side, starboard and port side. Okay. So in generally we will be saying, so think about forward is here, right? So forward is over here. So you always keep in an aeronautics field or aerospace field or even in marine field. So the term starboard indicates right hand side. The term starboard indicates right hand side. Okay. Whereas port side indicates left hand side. Okay. So depending upon forward position. So the forward position is here. So if I am standing over here and facing forward, right? If I am standing over here and if I am facing forward, so my left side will be port side, my right hand side will be starboard side. Okay. Similarly, it will be applicable if you are in an aircraft. So your left hand side, if you are facing the nose section, then your left hand side is port side and your right hand side is starboard side. Okay. So the ISS is also configured in such that way: forward, aft, and port, as well as starboard side. Okay. So the third axis is there. So the third axis is normal to both the axes, right? So if I am saying this is the x-axis, this is y-axis, and this is z-axis, we will be taking it as normal axis. So here they are using the term called zenith, and opposite to zenith, they are using the term nadir. Okay, so the International Space Station is categorized like that: the forward, aft, and the port side, as well as from starboard side. So the upper side is known as zenith, and the lower side is called as nadir. Okay, nadir. Okay. So this is the configuration, overall configuration of International Space Station. So now what we are going to see is, we will see all the each and every components, how it has been configured. Okay. So step by step, we will see that. So this is the latest structure of International Space Station. So initially it was started with one component, and then now it is looking like this. So although this is a animated video which I have taken from Jared Owen lecture, like animated lecture which was done in, it is available in their YouTube also. So the credit will always go to them. So if you see the other parameters, like as I told, if the International Space Station want to orbit, or if it wants to maintain the steady level, right? If we want to maintain the steady level, we need a propulsion system, right? So if we are not having the propulsion system, then it will fall back to Earth due to the gravitational force. It will fall back to Earth, and it will before entering into Earth itself, it will be destroyed. Okay, because the atmospheric heat, aerodynamic heating will make the entire space station to destroy. Okay, so the ground unit from various parts of the world, like Florida and even in Russia, they are having ground unit, and Japan is having ground unit, and all the countries, Germany is having ground unit for maintaining the International Space Station. Okay, so they will maintain the altitude whenever the altitude of International Space Station is decreasing. They will maintain the altitude by using the propulsion system so that it won't fall back to Earth. Okay. So the integrated truss structure is given over here. So I hope that is visible, right? So it is mentioned with the dark blue. So this is the entire truss system, entire integrated truss system. So so we know that the entire length of the uh, length will be 73 around, and width will be 100 meter around. Okay, right. So solar arrays, the main component of solar array is to generate power, that we very well know that, so I'm not explaining much about that. Then we are having, apart from the solar panels, we are having radiator panels also, to reduce the to remove the heat from the station. Okay, because this is very much important, so that the astronauts can do or can stay in the International Space Station. Otherwise the heat will be very much high. So the radiator panels are very much important component in the International Space Station, along with solar panels. Okay, so there are some equipments and science experiment, like which I have told earlier, right? So various type of instruments will be kept along the truss also, for communication as well as for scientific instruments will be kept in the equipment basis. So generally the US states orbital segment, it is having a Harmony module. So Kibu module from Japan, Harmony is from US, Canada Arm 2 is from Canada itself, Tranquility, it is from US, Leonardo from US, and Beam is latest, and which is having biggest advantage in the entire space science. In the future of spacecraft will be done through the Beam module alone. Okay, so ISRO is also planning to have this type of Beam module for their own space station, but it will take time for to do it. So Truss module as well as Unity module, and these are all done by US itself. Okay, so now we will see how what are the launch vehicles were used for transporting the components from ground to International Space Station is most widely and most repeatedly used launch vehicle is space shuttle. Okay, although now US is not using, but previously the entire maximum of time was launched using the space shuttle launch vehicle. So Russia contributed wider after they have done after the space shuttle program was done. So NASA has no choice; they have to collaborate with Russia either to Soyuz rocket, and they have launched various components. Okay, so Proton rocket and Soyuz rocket was used for taking the components from Earth to International Space Station. Apart from that, latest in the last 4 months before, Japan has also launched. JAXA has launched also from their own base. They have launched that. Okay. So now we will see individual component. So although I have told the entire component of International Space Station, now we will see step by step individual components. Okay. So first, as I told, Zarya is the first module which has kept, which was launched in 1998. So the power was transmitted to the solar arrays, but the solar array can generate the power required for this one module alone. Okay, so it cannot generate more than that. So the module is the panel which is used. It is only usable for that one module alone. Okay. So power will be generated from the solar array, and propulsion system was also placed. Apart from that, it has 3 docking modules. So 2 will be placed over here and 1 will be placed in the back side. Okay. So actually this is 2 only. There was mistakenly, there was an arrow over here mentioned. So 2 in the front and 1 in the back side of that. Okay. 3 docking ports. So the docking ports, main agenda of the docking ports is to fix another component from the Earth to International Space Station. Okay, so in 1998, the International Space Station was started like this only with one component. Okay, so now the project was started from 0% to, we can say, 1% they have done. Okay, because 1980 the project was started. So 1% they have achieved at 1998. Okay, so similarly, the next upcoming months and upcoming year, they have launched various type of modules time to time. Okay, so in 1998, second module was done by, and it is named as Unity. US launched that Unity module. So you have to be very much known about the parameters. Then only you will, when it is coming to the final module of International Space Station, right? Then only you can understand, okay, which is connected with which component. Okay, so since Zarya is here and all the components were attached from the beginning of Zarya, so it will be confusing, but it will be interesting fact if you note down the parameters, which is first and how it is connected with other parameters. Okay, other modules. So the second module is Unity. So it was launched in December 1998. So the main agenda of launching this is to increase the docking port, because as much as docking port is available, then we can send as much as modules, possible modules, which is required for another space launches and all. Okay. So although we have docking ports, some ports will need separate pressurized mating adapter. Like now in mobile we are having, right, C type port and the old type of USB ports we are having. So similarly, the Soyuz module are in, if you want to change the module docking port, right? So advanced port, if you want to fix, then you have to give some linkage. The old port and the new port can connect. So similar to that, so the pressurized matting adapter was also attached with the Unity module. Okay, so this is the Unity module with 6 ports all along the circumference as well as the front and the back of the module was kept. So 2 pressurized mating adapter was kept. So using this pressurized mating adapter only, the Unity was connected with the Zarya module. Okay, so using this pressurized mating adapter, so the second module was connected with successfully on 1998 December. Okay, so then the third module was Vesda, that is from again from Russia, because as now they are having more docking port, so they can transport materials from ground to International Space Station. So they have launched in July 2000 they have launched the life supporting module. So the module, the structure which they have developed, right? So it will be having a cabin pressurization system, and the astronaut can stay and they can work inside the module, and they can do all science experiment from the module itself. Okay. So in July 2000, the life supporting module was launched, and 3 docking ports. Along with the life supporting module, also we have 3 docking ports. Okay, because the docking ports is important. So if we are connecting one module, so here you can see this is Zarya module, and this is Zvesta module, and the over here which you are seeing is Unity module. Okay, Unity module. Okay, so that is second. So second module is fixed in the fore end, and the Zvera module is fixed from the Russia's Zarya backend. Okay, so this Zvesta is going to act as a functional center of Russian orbiting module. Okay, so the entire Russian module will be function using this Zvesta module. Okay, so this will be the like a heart of the Russian. ROS means Russian operating segment. Okay, Russian orbiting segment or operating segment. Okay, right. So the fourth module is Z1 Truss. So as they have identified that we need to have the truss segment so that we can maintain the stability of the spacecraft. Okay, because that is the important part. If you are increasing weight, and if you are not balancing the weight on another side, right, the CG will be different, and the propulsion system which we have from Zarya module, it may be very less when we are placing the modules unbalanced way. Okay, so we have to include the truss component. So initially they have implemented the Z1 truss, and the Z1 truss was connected to the Unity module. Okay, so this is Zarya, this is Vesta, Russian component, and this is Unity. Unity is US component, and Z1 truss also was launched by US in 2000, and they have attached through the Unity module. Okay, so that when they are fixing the upcoming modules, it can be made balanced way. Okay, so that is the aim of having a truss component. Okay, so this is a temporary mounting place. So why they have placed above the Unity surface? So that was kept as temporary, because when we want to build a truss with the length of nearly 100 meter, then the initial stage need to be kept with a temporary basing. Okay, so this Z1 truss is acting as a temporary mounting place, and also the PM3, that is pressurized mating adapter, was also attached in Unity in the third docking position. So one pressurized mating adapter is here. Another one is attached with the Russian module, that is Zarya module, and the third one was attached in the same October 2000. So the fifth module was P6 truss. So directly they have named it as P6 truss. They have not included the parameter of P1, P2, P3. They have directly given the term of P6 truss. That's why I told this Z1 truss which they have kept, right? Z1 is representing the axis. Actually, it is representing the axis Z. Okay, Z1, it is kept in November 2000. It is having solar array as well as radiator panels. So additional radiator panels were kept, because without radiator panel, the astronauts cannot stay inside the pressurized cabin also, right? Due to the thermal conduction and all. So the P6 truss was placed over the Z1 truss. So this is our Z1 truss, which is above the Unity module. So the P6 was placed over here and first installed the solar array wings. So this solar array wings of International Space Station, which will give enough power supply for the entire module of US as well as Russian modules, which is placed in the 2000. Now all the components required for astronauts to live in the space station was built. Okay, so in November 2000, the radiator panels, solar array, and all the pressurized components and all those factors whichever required for safety purposes also, everything was built in the 4 modules, especially in the 4 modules everything was occupied. Okay, so the astronauts started to live in the space station in November 2000 itself. So from that day to till now, various people for in a time span of 6 months, the three members crew will be changing time to time, and mostly uh, the people used to shift because their body condition may change and they want to even the associations like NASA as well as ESA, they will do the experiment of those who went to the low Earth orbit. Okay, so when they are coming back to Earth, they will do some experiments. What are the biological changes and biological behavior happening in their body when they have came back? Okay, so for that only they are having a short span of time, that is 6 months mostly, and some of them have stayed above that also. That is the secondary factor. Okay, so the sixth module which was entering into the space station was Unity module, Destiny module, which is connected with the Unity. Okay, so as I told, Unity is having 6 ports. So that's why the main agenda of having the 6 docking port is to include various types of modules. Okay, so the sixth module is Destiny module. So it was launched in February 2001 and it is connected to Unity. And it is also having this is the unnecessary line which I have I should have not used over here. So this is the line from here. Okay, so the Destiny module, it was entirely developed to do experiments. So various type of gravity experiments. You might have seen some videos, right? Like astronauts doing testing water flow as well as how they are eating and how they are behaving. So like that, that type of experiments has been done through this Destiny module. Okay, so the seventh module was ESP, that is external storage platform. So external storage platform was fixed. So this is external storage platform. It was fixed with the Destiny module itself. So in the Destiny module itself, the external storage platform was fixed. So Unity module is here. So the spare parts of the station, right? So suppose if the astronaut want to do the spacewalk, when he is coming out, he may not carry all the spare components from the inside module, right? So some components need to be kept in the outside of the station so that they can collect from the outside of the station and they can utilize over here, right? Over the repairment or maintenance purpose they can use, and then they can go back into their module, okay, respective module. So that is the main aim of this external storage platform or ESP1. So first one was placed in the Destiny module, and the eighth module was Canada. So one of the most important contribution of Canada was this Canada. Okay, so this is the robotic arm which is used to analyze or it is used to operate some outer structure, how the outer structure is behaving, and if it want to grab some external components, right? Whenever we are launching an external component and using this Canada arm, we can capture the external component and we can make and we can dock with Unity module, or we can dock with another module. If we record, we can dock with that. Okay, so the canard arm is used for remote manipulator system, and most of this is one of the biggest like robotic arm. Okay, robotic arm which was in the International Space Station and developed by Canada. Okay, so it is also attached to Destiny, and time to time, if wherever it is required, right? So it can be placed in various module also. Okay, it is not only meant for Destiny module; it can be placed in various modules also. Right. So the ninth module is Quest Airlock module. So the Quest Airlock module is again it is attached with the Unity module. So from here it is Unity. So this is Destiny module, and this is the first module, Zarya. Okay. So here you can see this is the Quest joined airlock. So here it is there. It is attached with the Unity module. So this is the first module which is going to help the astronauts to come out of the space station. So initially, when they are launched from space shuttle, the space shuttle will be docked with the International Space Station, and the astronauts have to live inside the module only. They cannot walk out of the space station. So when ESP and Canada was fixed, and then when Quest joined, Airlock was attached with the Unity module. The astronauts are now, because this will allow the airlock, the name itself having the airlock, so it will lock the air and it will maintain the pressurization inside the cabin, and it will allow the astronauts to come out of the module and they can do the spacewalk, the magical spacewalk which we are seeing time to time, right? So the spacewalk will be done through the Quest Airlock module. Okay, so and it is attached with the Unity module. So the 10th module was done by Russia. So after many modules which was launched by US and other space agency, then Russia came again with their own airlocking system, that is PIRS. PIRS, the name is PIRS. So it is attached with again with the Zarya module itself, right? And Zarya and Zveta, right? Zarya and Zveta. In between that, it is attached over there, and it will help the Russian astronauts, those who are in the International Space Station, right, and other astronauts, if they are coming through that, then this end will allow the astronauts to go for a spacewalk. Okay, so it is also having one docking port, because if we want to attach any other component like Zoe's capsule will be usually attached with this module. So Zoe's capsule and like space capsules. Okay, so one docking port will be there over there. So then the 11th segment was contribution of truss component. Okay, so then they have started to build the truss component, and they have placed the truss component above the Destiny module. So you can see here, this is the Destiny module. So this is a Unity module, and this is the Quest Airlock module. So above the Destiny module, this is the S0 truss. Okay, like in a plane, right? XY axis, we are having center, right? 0,0. So similarly, this was taken as 0. So they are mentioning it as S0 truss. Okay. So the most important thing when they have developed in April 2002, they have just attached this truss module. But in June 2002, they had a module called MBS, that is Mobile Remote Service Based System. So this is fixed over here. So I hope you can see a module over here, right? This is Mobile Remote Server Based System, and it is attached with S0 truss. S0 truss. Okay, so this is Destiny module. Okay, so this mobile remote server, it can move in x-axis, so or y-axis. Okay, so this is x-axis actually. Generally, this is the forward. So this is port side, and this is starboard side. Okay, port side and starboard side. So this mobile remote can along the trail, right? Along the trail, it can move, so that whenever if we fix the canard here, so we can do some robotic maintenance from here itself. Okay? The astronauts, for small repairment or maintenance, they don't need to come out of the station. Okay, so Canard Arm 2 is also attached with the same modules, right? So the 13th segment was S1 truss. So S1 truss means, so as I told, this is the forward, this is the port side, and this is the starboard side, right? Starboard side. Okay. So this is S0 truss, S0. So this is S1 truss, and again it was done by US. So why they are naming it as S means, when it is coming to the starboard side, they are marking it as S1. So when it is going to P, that is port side, they will be naming it as P1. Okay. So when they have kept the S1, right, it is attached with the S0, that is starboard side, and it is also having radiator panels. So another attachment was done with the S1 truss. It is having the radiator panels. And if you see P1 truss, right, P1 truss was kept in the, so if you see here, forward, port side, and this is starboard side. Okay, starboard side. So this is S0, this is S1, and this is P1 truss. Okay, so now they are attaching each and every truss time to time. So this is first October 2002 and November 2002, so that they can maintain the stability of the International Space Station. Okay, so here also the radiator panel was installed. Both the starboard side and port side radiator panel was installed. Okay, so then laterally they have attached various type of ESPs like external storage package in Destiny module, and as well as in various type of P3 and P4 truss have been attached simultaneously. Okay, P3 and S4, S3 they have also attached with the port side and starboard side. Okay, since we are having less than 10 minutes, I need to complete the slides. Okay, so I'm skipping some parts, right? So finally, the P5 truss and S5 truss. So it was attached. P5 was attached in the port side, and it is having expandable solar array, right? So at the end, this is nearly the end of the port side. Okay, so P5 truss. So P1, P2, P3, P4, and P5 truss. Okay. So it was done in 2006. Similarly, on the opposite side, August 2007, the S5 truss was built with solar arrays. Okay, so remaining was just built as a truss itself. So end part was built with solar arrays because the power requirement was increasing as the functioning of space station is also need so much power. Okay, right. So in 19 segment, that is in 2007, ESP again the third ESP, that is external storage platform, was attached in the S4 truss. Okay, S4 truss it is attached. So here you can see this is the 2007 how the space station was looked. So here there is a solar array, here there is a solar array, and here the array there is P6 truss, right? P6 truss. This is P5 truss, and this is S5 truss. Okay. So this solar panel was in the contraction position, retractable and contraction. So now it is in contraction position. So if you see the earlier position of P6, so let me show that. Yes, here, right? So this is the initial before P5 and P3. This is the solar panel which was used. So P6 was used over here as a solar panel, and it is having a ability to contract and expand. Okay, so when the P5 with solar panel and PS5 with solar panel was installed, so that is giving power supply, and it is maintaining the balance of the space station. So in 2008, Japan also contributed for that with the Japanese experimental module. So most of that they are using for plant bio studies. Okay, how it has been done in the low Earth orbit, and how we can do like produce food in the space station itself, so that for future astronauts or future space tourism can be widely used. Okay, so that's the aim of them. So then the finally S6, as I told, after P6, S6 also attached in March 2009, and they have maintained the stability. And the final means after that also many components have been attached. But if you see that the International Space Station, which NASA as well as Russia has planned in 1990s around, that nearly completed in 2009. Okay, so after that like attachment was done by Japan with their module, right? Japanese experimental module they have done with exposed facility. So they have added many facilities with their module, so that the astronauts inside the cabin they can do the experiment using the exposed facilities also. Okay, so then in 2009, POISC module was installed by Russia. So this is also similar to this for the space walk, right? So after that, Express Logistics Carrier. So they will be naming it as ELC. So this is also similar to the storage, which we are speaking about ESP, right? So the external components which was used. So here the hardwares will be stored. Okay. So the hardwares will be attached in the P4 truss, bottom of the P4 truss, as well as top of the S4 truss. So initially it was attached with bottom of P4 truss and then they have attached to balance that weight. They have attached with S4 truss in the upper surface. Okay, so then they have US has launched with Tranquility model. So one of the needed module at that time, so that they can capture the image from this cupola module. So cupola is another module which was attached with Tranquility. So from here, the astronauts from inside the space station, they can look outside how the Earth and how they are capturing the photos, right? You might be seeing the live streaming of International Space Station. So one of the can be done through this cupola module. Okay, right. So then the Russian module, the last Russian module was Rasvet, which was attached with the International Space Station in the Russian operating segment. It was attached with that, and it is mostly used for Russian storage as well as docking port. Okay, because Russia, they will use their own research facility, and where US is sharing with all other agencies like Canadian agency and Japan as well as European agency. So the Leonard model was kept. So it was also launched by US. So the Leonard model was used for multi-purpose module. Especially it was used for trash collecting. So whatever the trash, space trash inside the space station, it will be collected through the Leonard module. So when we are sending the space rocket next to spacecraft, the trash will be removed from the Leonard module and it will be replaced again for filling the trashes. Okay. So then similarly ELC3, ELC4. So this is EL3 and this is EL1, this is ELC2, ELC4 over here and ELC3 over here. Okay. So this is 1, 2. So the placement of, if you see the placement of hardwares and other components will be also kept in such a that the weight will be balanced equally. Okay, right. So the 2011 to study the antimatter, right? The particles, rare particles and antimatter in the space. So they have used alpha magnetic. So this is the alpha magnetic spectrometer which was used. So this used to study the antimatter, especially the rare particles in the space. So the last launch in the 2016 was done with Bigelow expandable activity model, or it will be named as BEAM. So as I told earlier, this is the most important module in International Space Station, and also it is a future because if you see here the image which is shown earlier, so this is the same module which is shown here. So the reason why I am speaking, it is an future application oriented. The component is initially having a width of, like, let's consider the width of the Bigelow expandable activity module is, let's consider it is initially 100 centimeter. Okay, that is 1 meter, right? But when it is expandable, it can expandable up to 5 times the compressed module. Okay, so the structure was made which that like morphing or like shape changing structure they have used. Okay, so the Bigelow expandable module with less space you can launch from here. So when it is attached with the space station, you can expand that and you can use that area. So the volume when you are launching, it will be reduced, but the volume when you are using in the International Space Station, it will be larger and it will be usable. Okay, so this type of expandable activity model, our ISRO is also trying to do that. Actually, they are doing some experiments. So if you guys are really interested, work for this. You are having a bright future when ISRO is going for their own space station also. Okay, so with this I am closing the modules because that is the last module which was launched. So we will go to see the virtual walk. See, as time is having very less timing, I have taken more time in explaining the modules. So I will just skip some factors and skip some video parts in the virtual way of virtual walk of International Space Station. Okay, well, so this is NASA's application, Android application, which you can also use that later. If you are not aware of that, then you can download this application in your mobile or in your iPad. Even it is available in iPad, and even you can use it in your tablet also. Okay. So this will be framed in such a way that you have to do many missions. Like you will be going to each and every module. What I have explained right now. So the structure, it will be replicating the structure, and it will be showing what are the components in each and every module. So let me show some factors. Right.
Yes, the current task is to.
So it will show the map. What are the components? So it will show exactly what are the components inside the International Space Station, as we discussed. First, Airlock, Destiny, Columbus. Columbus is a European lab. ESA has contributed over that, and Harmony is another US module, and Japanese X model module we have seen. Kibu. Both the Japanese X model module, it is otherwise together it will be named as Kibu. Okay, so Leonard module and Tranquility module and Unity module.
Choose your position in the station and the list of.
So I'm just skipping major part because we don't have time. You can watch it over later. Okay. So it will show you each and every component part, and one of the thing the astronaut will feel is the muscle change, vestibular change in his body. Okay. So this will explain how he can retrieve that.
Astronauts tend to experience sensations of dizziness and disorientation for the first few days in space. On Earth, sensors in the muscles and in the inner ear help astronauts know how they are oriented and moving. But these senses need gravity, so they don't work well in space. Fortunately, astronauts' brains adapt quickly and learn to trust.
Like from this module and the then only you will be allowed to enter into the space station. Okay, right. So this is Quest Airlock, and
Headache coming on? Maybe a stuffy nose?
so actually there was a transfer vehicle from Earth. It will be coming. So we have to
In space, the absence of gravity causes the fluids to shift upwards, leading to a puffy face, stuffy nose, and headaches. Purge fluids, resulting in a significant loss of water and a 10 to 20% blood plasma volume. Because the heart has to do less work, it may become smaller. The consequences of these changes in the cardiovascular system can be combated by exercise and an increase in electrolyte fluid intake before returning to Earth.
Okay. So similarly, if you see, so this is one capturing mechanism. Like when we are in the International Space Station, if the spacecraft is crossing, or if we want to take photography, then it will be done also through the same type of model.
I'm having trouble seeing.
So this is a cupola, right, which I have shown earlier. Right, cupola. From here we can see the 7 different windows will be there.
Right. If you're having trouble, it'd be enough microgravity.
So since we are in the microgravity, the will like we have to the power in the microgravity, right? The pressure in brain circulation won't be that much. Like it will be causing the increased pressure in the skull and brain. Okay, since there is less microgravity. So that will affect the
microgravity. Fluid buildup may cause increased pressure in the skull and brain. This can affect the eye in several ways. Choroidal folds, swelling of the choroid, which is a tissue with a lot of blood vessels. Optic disc edema, swelling of the optic nerve where it meets the group of the eye. Optic nerve sheath distension. Some astronauts experience changes in their vision, such as farsightedness and scotoma. These may remain when the astronaut returns to Earth. Research is continuing in order to find a solution to these problems.
okay. So there will be like experiment, like exercise we want to do to maintain the body over here in the International Space Station.
Gravity, muscle strength, and mass. Muscles start to slowly atrophy as soon as you're in microgravity. Take a look at your tablet for more information on muscle loss. In microgravity, some muscles shrink because they do less work and your body doesn't need to maintain them. Muscles that are typically used to fight gravity and keep, such as those around the spine and calves, are affected the most. These muscles have 20% of their mass over the course of a mission. Exercise is used to help maintain muscle strength and mass. Travel through the bloodstream.
So another problem which we will be facing is coughing and
May be
sneezing.
affected
Sneezing also will be there
by microgravity.
So that is also due to microgravity.
The body's immune system is altered during spaceflight. This is due to many factors. Various immune cells travel through the bloodstream searching for invaders. In space, aspects of the immune system appear weakened, which could lead to infections. Other aspects appear overactive, which could cause allergy or hypersensitivity. Certain viruses, such as the virus that causes chickenpox, have been shown to reactivate in microgravity. This doesn't mean the astronauts are sick, but is evidence of immune changes in astronauts that may precede disease. Research on ISS is continuing to characterize exactly which parts of the immune system are altered during spaceflight. It's time to grab the HTV, head to the cupola. The robotic workstation should be ready to go.
Okay, so I will show, this is the controller like which we will be using to control the canard. So when there was a like HTV means it is a transfer vehicle. Usually Japan, they will be naming it as HTV, as well as they will use the, now latestly in May, Japan has launched H2 TV. Okay, so this is the model how a docking system will be done. So how the canard will be helpful to connect the transfer vehicle and how the docking system will be done. Okay, so various cameras will be there and the control systems will be there. So using the control system, we have to manipulate the canard arm so that we can fix with the transfer vehicle and we can make the transfer vehicle to dock with the International Space Station. Okay.
And we'll birth the HTV for you. Great job! We're tightening the snares now. We'll move the HTV into position so that you can birth it. All right, you did it. Give us a few seconds to secure the latches. Looks like we're all set. Go ahead and grab an apple and milk.
Okay, so I think with this we can end today's session. Thank you for all of you, those who are joined over here. So I have taken much time over here. Right.
Hello.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you for the session.
Lecture, that was very good lecture. And in fact, I myself, I don't know that International Space Station has these many components and these many modules like Unity module, etc. And that was very
Okay, sir.
interesting lecture. And just brief about the tomorrow's lecture. I mean, on what topic tomorrow lecture
Yes, sir.
will
Yes,
be
sir.
there?
Yeah. Tomorrow there was a lecture which was scheduled at the same time, 6 o'clock. It was related with design and the development of hybrid airship. So there was a team called Team Aero Indians. They have developed, actually they have designed an airship which is having with a combination of a propeller as well as like a airship module. Okay, so which can fly with an altitude of 20 kilometer above in the Earth atmosphere, and also it can fly for 1 year. 1 year it can fly continuously. So that lecture will be also good. In the, okay, sir. So we can wind up the session.
Yeah. Once again, I would like to thank Wings of Aero for giving us this opportunity to collaborate with them, and I once again thank Professor Pon Maa Kishan for his wonderful lecture. And we will see forward for the next lecture in this series, and we will meet at the same time, 6 o'clock tomorrow evening. And with this,
Yes.
I would like to say something.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you very much. We will wind up, sir. Thank you.
Okay.